The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Look at this place. I'm staring out the window at the sanctuary, Julian. I've got a goat named Mitch currently trying to eat a literal pile of smoke-stained damp blankets, and honestly, I think he's onto something. Just consume the insulation while you can, because the world outside this 50-acre fortress, it is not making sense. Mitch has the right idea. He's opted out. He's in don't tell me the news mode.
John, my friend, you've been in the Catskills way too long. It makes perfect sense if you understand the theater. I'm sitting here in the Panopticon. New York City is glowing, and today is a busy show. We've got a solid mix today, John, but it's heavy. We have a massive development in the Middle East, total blockade, and we're looking at the most ambitious socialist governing project in American history right here in Manhattan. It's Monday, April 13th, 2026, and we are here.
It's, well, let's call it a crucial day. A heavy one. Yesterday we were talking about that $400 million White House ballroom, the disco for the apocalypse, while the DHS stays shut down. We talked about the vibe collapse in the economy. Today it's like the vibe collapse has officially met the military-industrial collapse, and they've decided to move in together.
Look, I gotta say, the energy in the city is something else. It's day 100 for Mayor Zohran Mamdani. He's at Brooklyn College right now, alma mater of Bernie Sanders. And Bernie is basically, he's basically certifying New York as the vanguard of the national movement.
Okay, but can we be real for a second? Bernie said, "To hell with the oligarchs." That's a great line. It sells t-shirts. But Mamdani is actually trying to run a $127 billion budget.
Oh, he's not just trying. He is performing. He's moving with audacious speed. He's proposing a reparative budget for FY 2027. We're talking about a 9.5% property tax hike, but specifically aimed at high-value real estate. My thing is, he's trying to bridge that $180,000 racial wealth gap. He's actually putting a price tag on equity.
Right, but according to the Times of Israel, he's leaving out the community safety offices while keeping the NYPD budget stable. He's trying to keep the cops from revolting while he reshapes the economy. It's like trying to perform open heart surgery on a patient while they're still awake and holding a gun.
It's a high-wire act. He's trying to de-police social crises by replacing badges with mental health pros for 311 calls. I mean, I love the ambition. It's the first time we've seen a Democrat actually act like they have a mandate to, actually change things.
Look, I mean, that's all well and good for the 5 boroughs, Julian, but while Mamdani is taxing penthouses, the rest of the world is basically being shoved into a locker. I mean, I have to lead with this because it's the only thing that matters today. Operation Epic Fury.
Oh, here we go.
As of 10 a.m. this morning, the United States has initiated a full naval blockade of all Iranian ports and a partial blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. This is the direct fallout from the Islamabad talks collapsing over the weekend. According to The Guardian, J.D. Vance gave the Iranian parliament speaker a final and best offer that was basically a demand for unconditional surrender.
Oh, look, I gotta say, from a strategic standpoint, it's a show of force. We can't have Iran dictating the terms of global trade in the Strait.
Spare me. Look, Julian, you're calling this strategic? We're interdicting any vessel that pays a toll to Iran. Trump is on True Social acting like he's the manager of a toll booth with nuclear weapons. This isn't diplomacy. It's naval diarrhea. We're strangling an entire country's economy, and we're doing it because we failed at negotiations where we asked them to give up their entire sovereignty.
Wait, John. It is absurd to think we can just let them enrich uranium to weapons-grade levels without a response. I'm telling you, sometimes you need the big stick. The blockade is a non-kinetic way to force them back to the table.
A non-kinetic way to starve a population. Okay, sure. And while we're doing that, the GOP is back in D.C. today, and their agenda is, well, it's the war on the ballot and guns for everyone. President Trump is asking for $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon.
I'm telling you, that number it's staggering. 1.5 trillion.
And they're doing it through reconciliation. $115 billion in base funding and an extra $350 billion for the Golden Dome missile defense. And how are they paying for it, Julian? According to the GOP's own budget proposal, they're doing a 10% across-the-board cut to everything that's not a bomb. SNAP, Medicaid, education. They're basically telling working families that their kids don't need to eat as long as the sky is covered in billionaire-funded interceptor missiles.
Hey, look, I disagree that it's all performative masturbation, as you love to call it. The Golden Dome is a real infrastructure project. It's jobs, John.
It's jobs. Building a cage over the country while we gut the school lunch program? It's guns over butter, Julian. It's the most basic, primitive economic mistake a falling empire can make. We're shifting the burden of Medicaid to the states, which experts warn will lead to benefit deserts in lower-income regions. It's legislative constipation turning into actual physical deprivation.
Look, I'm telling you, the GOP is also pushing the Save America Act. They're trying to force national voter ID through reconciliation. $5 million in ads already hitting the airwaves. They're attacking the social safety net and the ballot box in the same breath. It's a pincer movement.
It's a funeral for the 20th century. And while we're talking about funerals, Julian, the enrollment cliff is here.
Oh, I was just looking at this. I'm telling you, it's gradually, then suddenly time for the American college system. We're losing 20 campuses a month.
Right. Sterling College in Vermont. Closing. Done. Final commencement this May. They went from 125 kids to, 40? 40? You can't run a coffee shop with 40 regulars, let alone a liberal arts college. And Penn State is begging for $59 million just to keep 7 Commonwealth campuses open?
Look, it's a systemic disinvestment. We're hollowing out the soul of America because we'd rather spend that $59 million on a single drone strike in the Iranian desert.
Right, but it's also a cognitive debt. Did you see that algorithmic blind spot report? MIT and Microsoft basically saying we've outsourced original thinking to algorithms that are optimized for what? Oh, right, outrage.
It's absurd. We've got people in ERs, according to the journal Transfusion, demanding unvaccinated blood. People are delaying life-saving surgeries because they're scared of mRNA spikes in a bag of O negative. We are losing the ability to discern truth from algorithmic output.
Speaking of people who struggle with the truth, can we talk about the Melania maneuver?
Oh, John, it was a masterclass in the Black Book deflection. First Lady Melania Trump stands in the grand foyer and calls for public congressional hearings for Epstein's survivors? My jaw hit the floor.
Look, she called the Love Melania email to Maxwell a trivial note. Why now, Julian? Why is she suddenly the champion of the survivors?
Preemptive image cleansing. The DOJ is sitting on those new Epstein files, and she's trying to seize the moral high ground before the next shoe drops. It's a tactical deflection from the Iran war. She's saying, look over here at the bad guy from 10 years ago. Don't look at the warships today.
It's performative. Look, it's more noise. And while the noise is cranked to 11, we have $75 billion for ICE, thanks to the OBBA bill, and they're completely insulated from the DHS shutdown. 55 days, Julian, the longest shutdown in history. The TSA is working for free, but the deportations are fully funded through 2029.
It's a shield of cash. It's the authoritarian stack we always talk about. They've protected the enforcement arm and left the rest of the government to wither. Look, independent media like this doesn't just manifest out of the ether. It takes real human work to build the infrastructure. We are 100% here because of the vision and the grind of our creator, Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. He's not a media conglomerate. He's a builder who poured his own resources and time into creating this platform so we could have these conversations. If you value independent voices over corporate algorithms, please like, subscribe, and consider visiting our new Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia to support this work. It's an act of solidarity that keeps the lights on and the servers running.
Solidarity. Yeah, we're going to need it because we need to do a deep dive into the real story of the day. And no, it's not the blockade, it's the chimps.
Look, the chimps in Uganda. This is actually terrifying, John. You're the one who lives with the goats. You've got to walk us through this.
Okay, April 9th, a study was published in the journal Science. It documents the first clearly observed civil war within a wild chimpanzee community, the Ngogo community in Uganda's Kibale Park. For 20 years, Julian, 20 years, this was the largest, most stable chimpanzee society on Earth. Nearly 190 individuals. It was the gold standard of primate cooperation.
And then?
And then in 2015, researchers noticed the first quote-unquote cracks. Former allies began acting like strangers. They were seeking reassurance when meeting. By 2018, the group had fractured into two hostile factions, the Western and the Central groups.
Wait, was it about food? Was it about resources?
No, that's the whole point of the study. Lead author Dr. Aaron Sandel notes that this collapse happened without a shortage of fruit or space. It wasn't culture. It wasn't ideology. It wasn't religion. It was a mathematical collapse of interpersonal social links.
What does that even mean?
It means there were just too many individuals for the network to handle. A chimpanzee can only maintain a certain number of meaningful relationships. Once the group got too big, they couldn't tell us from them anymore. The social glue literally dissolved because the scale of the society outpaced the capacity of the individuals to process it.
So it's cognitive debt, but for primates?
Exactly. And Julian, the violence, it was coordinated. It was lethal. Between 2018 and 2024, the Western group launched a campaign against their former friends. We're talking about 24 documented attacks. At least 7 adult males and 17 infants were killed. They went on raids and border patrols.
I'm telling you, this is a mirror. It's exactly what we're seeing in our politics. We've outpaced our biological capacity to perceive each other as human because of the scale of the internet and the outrage algorithms.
Look, I mean, that's the deep dive. We're the Ngogo chimps. We have these massive, bloated social structures like a $127 billion city budget or a $1.5 trillion Pentagon ask. And we've lost the social link to the person on the other side. When the mathematical collapse of the social network happens, the only thing left is the raid. The only thing left is the border patrol.
But John, humans have the capacity for higher thought. We have ideology. We have values.
Do we? Or are values just the fancy noises we make while we're doing the same thing the Western faction did to the Central faction? Look at the blockade. Look at the GOP gutting SNAP to pay for missiles. Is that ideology, or is it just the Central faction deciding the Western faction doesn't need to eat?
I gotta disagree with the pure pessimism. We aren't just chimps, John. Mamdani, look at him. He's trying to build new social links. He's trying to bridge that gap. If we were just chimps, we'd just be throwing rocks at the penthouses, but we're taxing them. That is a human distinction.
Is it? Or is taxing the penthouses just the Western faction in Queens taking the Central faction's fruit? Look, Jillian, the mathematical collapse of the social link is real. When you can't see the other person's humanity because you're buried in cognitive debt from an algorithm that wants you angry, the Civil War becomes a biological certainty.
Look, so what's the fix? Is the fix your sanctuary? Just move to the woods and bottle feed a goat?
No. Mitch the goat is a nightmare. He just ate my shoe. The fix is recognizing that scale is the enemy. We need to focus on the links we can maintain. We need to stop the national edging sessions of the big media narratives and look at the reparative work happening at the ground level.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not moving to the Catskills. I'm staying in the city to fight for the soul of America. I believe we can scale. I believe the Democratic Party is the structure that keeps the Civil War from becoming a blockade.
Look, I mean, I hope you're right, but according to the journal Science, the Nagogo chimps thought they were stable too, until they weren't.
It is absurd to compare us to wild animals when we have the black book and the power of the vote. But look, it's a powerful metaphor. We have to maintain the links. We have to keep talking.
Yeah, we have to keep talking. That's the only way to pay off the cognitive debt.
Look, that's the show for today. A lot of heavy stuff, a lot of crucial developments. From the Strait of Hormuz to the Nagogo Forest, we are all connected, whether we like it or not.
Look, I mean, just try to be a little less Western faction today. Find someone you haven't muted on social media and, I don't know, ask them about their day before you raid their fruit.
Stay sharp, stay angry, and we will see you tomorrow.
If the blockade doesn't take out the internet, go home, Julian.
I'm already home. The Panopticon never